Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Star Wars Pinball? I need to get this out here right now and make sure that you don't misunderstand me. I have a feeling some people believe that this is a joke video. That I'm going to come along and say some contrarian nonsense like, this is the best Star Wars game to come out in the past few years, even though it quite literally is. I mean, what competition is there? Let's be honest. And they're gonna think that I'm just doing it for views, or I'm doing it to rile people up. No, I'm not, actually. I am very genuine when I say that this is a very good Star Wars game. And not only that, Pinball is having a very interesting revival right now, and I think maybe, just maybe, you should pay attention to it. Now, the platform we're playing on is Pinball FX2. Which is by Zen Studios, considered one of the best. There's a couple of different pinball platforms. One is very much based on reviving real tables, and as a direct result, they have some really fantastic stuff. And then you've got Zen Pinball, who for the most part basically design their own stuff. It's based around the physics of real tables and things like that. They don't go completely out there, but they do a lot of stuff that couldn't be done on physical tables, which I find very interesting. Now, the platform fairly recently came to Steam, and as you can see, there's a number of different tables available, including a rather large selection of Marvel tables, as well as 6 Star Wars tables, and a bunch of other stuff. Now, with the platform, which is free to download, you now get Sorcerer's Lair for free, and you can play that as much as you want, so there kind of is no excuse not to at least try it, simply because Sorcerer's Lair is there, and it's a free pinball table. You can also try pretty much anything here a couple of times around and then see whether or not it's for you. Now, the business model is based around buying tables for $3 each or buying 4 table packs for $10, so they're $2.50 each. And in this case, the Star Wars pinball stuff is, I think, a little pricier, but stuff like the Marvel pinball, you can get 4 tables for $9.99 and things like that, so it's not too shabby. Now, let's have a look at the options menu. This is actually fully mouse controlled, so anyone believing you need a controller for this, it's not true. You can use keyboard and mouse if you want. I'm just using a controller because I like using triggers for flippers. I prefer that to pressing keys. It's just it's a tactile thing, you know? It's personal preference. We got the settings here. You'll notice that you can indeed customize the audio sliders, video. You can turn off a lot. Most of the stuff I don't even understand. I'm going to be entirely honest, because there's a lot of pinball terminology. But you can also give yourself AA and reflections on or off and things like that. Honestly, it is not something that is all that important in a pinball game, as you might imagine, but it's nice that it's there regardless. So, we came here today to look at Star Wars Pinball. This is the second pack in the Star Wars Pinball series. The first one, Empire Strikes Back right there, as well as the Clone Wars, which nobody likes. Well, maybe I just have this nasty idea that everything to do with the original series... I said it's not even the original series, man. The bloody prequels, 1, 2, and 3. The fact that I just caught myself calling 1, 2, and 3 the original series makes me want to hang myself. Anyway, you also got the Boba Fett table, which is really good. These are the new ones. You got the Darth Vader table, Starfighter Assault, and Return of the Jedi. We'll check out all 3. I think Starfighter Assault thus far has been my favorite, but we will give it a shot. So let's jump right in, and let's talk about pinball. Why not? So, you got the nice little simulation dot matrix display in the top left-hand corner there as well. But, you know, they put a decent amount of effort into actually making the game look okay, which is quite nice. You know, you didn't have to do this. It's not badly rendered, actually, I gotta say. They put some work into that. Alright. So, you can choose either the Rebels or the Imperials. I will play the Galactic Empire, of course. That's why not. And actually, it does theme the table a little bit as well. Depending on who you pick, depends on which side you launch from. So you launch in a TIE Fighter here. You notice the middle of the table has got... It looks like Porkins in the middle there, which is pretty cool. Alright, let's rock and roll, shall we? Alright, so, welcome to Zen Pinball Star Wars Starfighter Assault. Now, the cool thing that I like about Zen Pinball is that they don't make emulations of real tables, but they do base what they do on real tables and the obvious physics elements that you have to worry about here. And the weight of the ball does feel absolutely phenomenal. It feels like a real pinball would. But there's so much more they can do because they're not constrained by technology. I really like looking at real pinball tables, because to me, a pinball table is kind of a mechanical work of art. It is so intricate. You've got to design something with a lot of different features that all interact with this silver ball that, of course, is basically governed by physics and gravity. And I feel the design of a pinball table, especially some of the more complex ones, is an incredibly impressive piece of technology. It's unfortunate that we have reached a time where building such pinball tables and actually maintaining them is just so expensive that most of the time there's no real reason to do it. It's not that people don't still make pinball tables, but honestly, it's such an expensive thing to do. And now pinball's kind of found its second life, I suppose, on iOS and PC and console. And it's doing well for itself, it really is. They have actually enjoyed a lot of success. There's been plenty of Kickstarters to revive and get licenses for tables like the next generation. Not done by Zen, of course, but by a different company. And Zen's doing well for itself as well, and people are actually enjoying pinball again. So strange, isn't it, when you think about it? But in reality, pinball is timeless to me. I think everyone remembers playing Space Cadet and enjoying that so much. And if you look at Space Cadet compared to the complexity and the design of something like this, it's really incredible to see how far things have actually progressed. And not only that, but I feel we are in a time where speedrunning is a thing, and high scores are actually relevant again. For the longest time they weren't, but now, since it directly compares your scores with your Steam friends and gives you objectives constantly, man, it is a really compelling experience, especially if you're playing alongside people that, you know, Eric Fullerton, if I recall correctly, that's Dunkor from WoW Radio. They want me to beat his super score. Alright, fine. It's like, oh, suddenly I've got an objective. It's almost emulating the old situation that you would have in a bar where you knew everyone that went there, the regulars, and you tried to beat their score. Same principle, only online. And is pinball still enjoyable in a non-physical setting? It is. Less enjoyable? Possibly. But it is absolutely enjoyable, and Zen decided to put all sorts of crazy stuff in that you really just couldn't do with a physical table. It's actually possible on this one to get missions whereby you go into this little shoot-'em-up stage and you have to gun down a bunch of rebel starfighters, which is awesome. You know, it's a really, really nice thing to put in there. And they include it all with the basic controls that you'd find on a pinball machine. They don't feel the need to put a bunch of other stuff. All right, here we go. Fighter confrontation. So let's rock and roll. I have 3 TIE fighters here. 2 TIE fighters after I lost them to the asteroids there. And I've got to gun down as many X-Wings as humanly possible. There we go. And it's actually a pretty decent shoot-'em-up, honestly. It's basic. There's nothing really particularly special about it, but as a mission for a pinball table, it's not too shabby, I gotta say. Alright, come on. There they are. Let's get the rest of them. Oh, man, I'm screwing this up completely. I need to get my timing right. Oh! There we go. Come on. And I have lost another one. Come on. 2 more enemies. Yes, there we go. Phase 1. Excellent. So that'll get you into the next phase of the mission, and you can continue to advance, and there's all sorts of crazy stuff. Now there's a freaking starfighter battle going on above the table, and you've got to charge the cannons in order to gun them down and help your starfighters. It's just great! And just the intricate design of the table, and the sheer attention to detail, and also the respect for the IP as well. It's like, how much Star Wars stuff can we cram into this to give this authentic Star Wars feel? You'd think this would be a knockoff, yeah? You really would. But honestly, this is a very, very faithful interpretation of Star Wars in a pinball setting, as dumb as that sounds. There's just so much here, and so many different features that are related to the Star Wars franchise. It's not just Star Wars tacked onto a pinball table. Yeah? It is a really nice interpretation in game form. And I don't feel there's enough games that really did that. Even though I feel it's a lot easier to do it with something like a pinball table versus a kind of a full game. You've still got to respect the attention to detail. You've got to respect how obviously the designers were actually fans of Star Wars and really wanted to give this great Star Wars experience to people that also happen to enjoy pinball. And I do enjoy pinball. I attest to it. It is a simplistic, simple idea. Get the highest score possible, activate the features on the table, and it rewards accuracy, and it rewards timing. And that, to me, is just absolutely fantastic. It really, really is. So let's have a look at one of the other tables here. I'm going to exit to the main menu, and we'll have a look at the other 2. Saving seems to take a little while. I'm not really sure why that is. I assume it's cloud-related. Alright, let's do the Darth Vader table. Here we go. Tribute to Darth Vader. God, just the design of these things is so good. I'm sorry, it is. Shall we start the assembly of Darth Vader? Yes, we shall. There we go. I just love the design of each of these tables. It's so very good. The guys at Zen Pinball absolutely know what they're doing when it comes to aesthetics, I've got to say. Even the fact that just each of the, I don't know what you call them actually, I don't really know that much about pinball. Each of the shooty thingies, I don't know, the pinball cannon nonsense. Each of those are different depending on the table. Perspective's also really good as well. Quite surprised by that. Because obviously you're playing a pinball table on a monitor that's wide rather than high. And most pinball tables, of course, were not designed around that. But the way that Zen designs their tables, it works really, really well. And I never feel like I can't see where the ball's going. They've got the perspective just right, I think. They've got this kind of subtle tilt going on. And it's just awesome. It feels natural. And that's impressive. That takes a lot of work. I think it can't be overemphasized just how difficult it is to actually emulate a realistic pinball feel when it comes to playing on a computer or an iPad. Because you are talking about the physics of the ball and the way that it interacts with various different elements. And it's gotta feel real. Because otherwise people just like, you know, what's the point? Especially pinball aficionados and enthusiasts. And I've never labeled myself as such, but I do enjoy a good game of pinball every once in a while. And what I'm finding is between Zen and there's one other studio that does real tables, which I also enjoy. I think one of my personal favorites, what was it called? I think it was... damn. It was based on that... Oh, Arabian Nights, yeah. There's an Arabian Nights table that is just absolutely fantastic. And that's great. But in this case, Zen is probably the best you will find on PC. And for original tables, as opposed to interpretations of real ones, it's a thing. You know, it is very, very good at what it does. Alright, I have no idea what's about to happen. We retrieve the missing schematics by shooting the lanes. Oh, God! Now is not the time to scratch my nose. A failure. A dismal, dismal failure. Alright, let's jump out of this and have a quick look at episode 5. And then we'll come to our conclusion on this one. Oh, sorry, episode 6. Return of the Jedi. Here we go. That's a nice looking table as well. Just generally great animation, very colorful, fantastic use of sound assets, both music and sound effects and original voice acting, as well as really nicely done stuff that wasn't actually in the films. Yeah, not using the original voice actors, but getting very, very good lookalikes or sound-alikes, interpretations and things like that. Each table just feels lush, you know? There's no expense spared, I suppose. So yeah, I'm gushing over Star Wars Pinball. What do you want? It's really good at what it does. You've got to judge it by its own merits. You might not like pinball, but you've got to respect what they're doing here. Creating these original tables that just have so much to offer and are so respectful of their source material, and just feel great to play in general. There's a lot of replay value. The inbuilt high score stuff that integrates with your Steam friends list is fantastic and always gives you those little optional competitive objectives to engage in. And they go just far enough to integrate new technology without sacrificing the authenticity of what makes pinball pinball. And I love that about them, I really do. They've got a lot to be proud of with this release, and I feel the business model is pretty fair as well. Giving you a free table right off the bat is fantastic, because it just lets you download and play and figure out whether or not, you know, do you like pinball? Maybe you don't, but it gives you the opportunity to find out with a pretty damn good table, and then it's a la carte. You buy what you want, and you can try all the other stuff as well. It's a really fair, free-to-play, pay-as-you-go kind of business model. And I like it a lot. And honestly, it's not even that expensive compared to some of the other companies that do it. You know, getting pro tables of some of the stuff that's based on real pinball can be quite pricey on iOS. I think I paid actually $7 for a table before on a different platform. But yeah, it's good. It's really, really good, guys. And I would really suggest that you try it out. If you never played pinball before, what is stopping you? Try out their basic table and see whether or not it's for you. I think you might be surprised. It is very skill-based. It's very immediate. And honestly, it's satisfying as hell. It really is. What can I say? So there you go, folks. Star Wars Pinball, the second pack available for the FX Pinball 2 platform on Steam, which is a free download, and this Star Wars pack, I believe, costs you $10 or your regional equivalent. My name's been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.